Hello people, I am Jabby Kawai. I thought that this would be a good change of scenery from the usual backdrop of where we shoot all of our reaction videos. This is the office where Achara and I do most of our editing. I know it probably seems silly to have videos of myself in the background, it just seemed better than having blank monitors. So, I get a lot of questions all the time from people who are doing reaction videos, and I obviously have been seeing a lot of new reactors pop up who are doing Indian content, also Korean content sometimes. And before that, there was a lot of reactors already, even before I came around, who were doing American stuff. And I thought about the question today: what makes a good reactor? What makes one person better than someone else? It seems like a silly question initially, but then I thought about it and I'm like, there is an answer there though. There is something to that question because there are people who are more watched than others, and there must be a reason for that other than they got there first. Obviously, that's a contributing factor, but I think there are other huge factors that are important to highlight. And the reason I'm doing this video is because I know that there's a number of people who watch me who want to do reaction videos themselves or have already started doing reaction videos. And so hopefully this video will help you guys out on some level, in some way. It may not, but take my advice with a grain of salt. This is just my feeling on this. I feel that it is a little bit valid for me to do a video like this, having just passed 500,000 followers recently. So hopefully it makes sense for me to be doing a video like this. The very first thing, and I'm not the first to say this, there was another YouTuber who said this first. This isn't just applicable to reaction videos, but this is applicable to just YouTube videos in general. And the very first thing is charisma. I feel it's safe to say that I at least have a teaspoon of charisma. I would say that Gregory's definitely got charisma. If you don't know who Gregory is by now, Gregory is my brother, and he has his own reaction channel. He doesn't just do reactions, he does a lot of things, but reactions is obviously the biggest thing he does on his channel. And Tyrone Magnus, he's actually the best example I can think of, because Tyrone Magnus, I feel, is flying. His momentum is completely solely dependent on his charisma. Because when I watch his stuff, he's not usually doing a lot of discussion. It's usually just the reaction and maybe a little bit of discussion, and then the video's over and he moves on. But he's got 1 million plus followers. And it's not just his rate of output. He is a charismatic guy. He's a very charismatic person to watch, and people really enjoy watching charisma. There's something just compelling about him, and that's why he's got so many followers. The second thing simply is content, having interesting content that you are discussing. That's one of the first things I try to tell people when they're starting out on YouTube and doing something brand new is you want to try to find a conversation that's happening but put your spin on it. For instance, for me it's a little bit easier because I love film, and film is a huge thing on YouTube, and so if I was just starting out, let's say, Avengers is coming out soon, and I'm a filmmaker, maybe I'll try to do a spoof of Avengers because people are searching for Avengers, and a spoof is funny. Comedy's usually good on YouTube. It doesn't transcend all cultures, as I've learned, but comedy's usually a good place to start for people. And so a comedic spoof of Avengers is a great way to start out if you're just starting right now and you can afford to make a video like that. There was a girl whose name I can't remember for the life of me, who I believe did a video on Star Wars Rogue One, and now she's part of Screen Junkies. I can't remember her name right now, but her YouTube career basically did that, and it started out with just doing like a spoof of how they pitched Star Wars Rogue One. No, it wasn't Star Wars. I think she started out with Suicide Squad, and then she went to Star Wars. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. But the point is that she was unknown, and she decided to do like these spoof sketch things about something people were talking about, and then her career, so to speak, her career blew up. What was the third thing? Oh, geez. Oh, the third thing to me is having that willingness to laugh at yourself, having that willingness to be stupid. Like for me, I mean this in the most humble way possible. I think that, I've got some smarts, I've got some intelligence about me, but the important thing is, no matter how smart I might think I am, I'm willing to look stupid. I'm willing to act stupid. I'm willing to be stupid. Because that just makes you relatable. Because, I mean, in real life, I'm just a goofy dude. I make jokes all the time. And I get called out for making stupid jokes or dumb jokes, jokes that aren't funny, all the time in the comments on YouTube. And the fact that I just keep doing it anyway is something. It's like some people are, a lot of people are afraid to look stupid, and so they only show themselves looking perfect on YouTube, and that's not interesting. People want to see you be goofy. People want to see you kind of be dumb, but they don't want you to be dumb. Like they don't want to see an idiot. They just want to see someone who's willing to be an idiot. If that makes any sense, if you can see the difference between the two. I think those are the three most important things, at least what's worked for me. Again, like you want to take my advice with a grain of salt. There's a lot of different people out there. I'm certainly not the most popular YouTuber by any stretch, but I feel that my following, you guys, it is substantial. It's a lot of people, and so I'm speaking from that. I'm speaking from my 3 years of experience, I guess. Those are the three things I've noticed are really important. There's a lot of time spent on like perfect thumbnails and tags and descriptions and whatnot, and a lot of that stuff doesn't matter nearly as much as those first three things that I mentioned. People just want to see interesting people. That's what it comes down to. I've seen a lot of girls try to do these, not a lot. I think it was one channel when I was looking at different reactions. These girls who were trying to grab subscribers by doing like these kinky kind of reactions where they were basically like half naked doing reactions to Indian content, and I noticed that no one gave a shit, and that's because it felt like clickbait. It felt like a grab, and it's disingenuous. It's like those people who are doing that are literally just clickbaiting you. They don't actually care about the content, and that relatability is so important. Being able to relate to someone's enthusiasm for something is important. When you're doing something like reaction videos, it's important that you understand. I learned this from Chris Stuckman. Chris Stuckman is a movie reviewer. He doesn't do reaction videos. He reviews. And one of the things he said in one of his instruction videos like this, or advice videos, is you want to come from a place of being a fan first. You want to come from a place of you're enthusiastic about this thing. Because if you just come out being negative, no one's interested in watching that. Excuse me, I think I have to burp. Okay, it's out. I just ate dinner recently. You want to come from a place of being a fan of something, and people are hoping for things. And if you come out of the gate just being a negative person, it's kind of a turnoff. It's gross, and no one wants to watch that. And I actually had a couple of videos like that once or twice, and I noticed that the response wasn't very good. And I had to learn how to open my mind up to like the positive aspects of things, and it did take some work to like really understand, like, well, the compliment sandwich. That's a big thing I like to use with any video. Any video I'm watching on YouTube, it's important to me that I pretend that this is it's being shown to me by a friend of mine. Like if my best friend showed me one of his videos, how would I respond to it? What would be my honest critique? Obviously, if I have negative things to say, I need to say them, but there are ways to say them that isn't such an asshole move. So there's the compliment sandwich or the hamburger compliment. There's a different number of different ways to phrase it. But the point is, like, you start out with what you liked, what you genuinely liked. What you didn't like is nuanced, and then you go back to something else you liked. And this is a technique I try to apply as often as possible. It's not even conscious anymore. It's something I just do naturally, where I'm looking for the positive thing and then I nuance the negative thing and I come back to the positive thing. I'm not lying. I'm saying what I feel, but there are ways to say it that are polite and have tact, and I feel like the production houses, the big movie companies see that I'm doing that, and they appreciate that. They work really hard on their movies, and it's a business, and they really care about the success of that. And so if I'm being polite in reviewing their stuff, even if I'm not going, oh my god, it's the best thing ever, they see that I'm coming at it in the most polite manner possible, and I'm not being disrespectful. And that's a big thing, is not to be disrespectful as much as you can. So I think that those are the most important things I could possibly offer you guys. The last thing I think is I get a lot. The one email I see a lot is, how do I do these without getting copyright claims? How do I do these without getting copyright strikes, Jabby? I see those emails a lot, and I just don't have time to respond to them. I see them pop up, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I'll get to that at some point, but I'm just responding to you, all of you guys now who keep sending me that email. Copyright claims is just a thing that happens when you do reaction videos. That's just a part of the process. It's par for the course, as I like to say. I get copyright claims all the time, and I try to fight them whenever possible, and then other times I let it go because I know I'm not going to win. But as often as I can, I try to fight it because it is your right to fight it. Trailer reactions are a completely legal type. It's completely legal to do. I've talked to lawyers in India and in the States. It's a legal thing. There's nothing wrong with it. What would be wrong is if you just take that video clip that you liked and then re-upload it to your channel and monetize it. That's wrong. But if you're doing your commentary on it, if you're offering your reaction on it, that's totally okay and legitimate. But there's a lot of companies who don't want you to monetize those videos, and they'll put a copyright claim, meaning they'll let your video stay there, but they'll monetize it for themselves. And I get emails about that. There's nothing. You're not at risk of, at least as far as I know, you're not at risk of anything bad when you get a copyright claim on your video. That just means that you don't get to monetize it. Copyright strikes is what's scary, and most of the time, companies won't do that to you, but sometimes they do. I'm still waiting for a copyright strike to expire from that Sachin farewell speech that I did. That's no longer on my channel, and it got taken down by the cricket board or whatever it is, and I tried to fight it, and I couldn't. For some reason, I just couldn't fight it, but I got a strike for it, and it's gonna be released fairly soon. And sometimes that happens. It's not the first strike I've gotten, but whenever it happens, I try my best to fight it. I try my best to be polite and reason with them and explain to them my position, my situation, what it is I do. And most of the time they're nice, and most of the time it gets released. This time with the Sachin farewell speech, it didn't go the way I wanted it to, and that's you can't win every single battle. But my point being is, I don't have any special thing that I do to avoid copyright claims. Whenever possible, I try to get permission. Whenever possible, I try to talk directly to the companies. A lot of you guys have been asking me to do Scoop Whoop, and I want to, but I haven't been able to get their permission. I've been trying. They're for some reason they're hard to reach. So that's why you haven't seen me do Scoop Whoop yet. Like with web series in particular, I try to get permission before doing a reaction to it. With the movie trailers, it's different. Those are commercials. And so my reaction on their commercial is just another commercial essentially for them. Yeah. So anyway, I don't want to go on a tangent about that. I think I've answered all the questions that I normally find on YouTube. If you guys have any other questions for reaction videos and stuff like that, I will try my best to answer them in the comments, or I'll make a follow-up video to this if it feels like it's warranted to do a follow-up video. But I just wanted to try to help some of you guys out who are starting out doing reaction videos, or who've been doing it for just a little bit but want some direction on what to do next. The very first thing I mentioned, charisma. It's important to know that not everybody has that. Not everybody can have it. It's one of those things that's like, it's hard because I don't know that that's a trait that you can necessarily learn. Maybe it is, but there's just like, some people just have a natural personality for it. I guess like if you took speech classes or whatever, or you practiced just talking to lots of people and studying what works and doesn't work, there's certainly a way to learn to be charismatic there. But I think it's kind of like acting or writing. It's like you can learn certain techniques, but there's a certain talent that is just kind of, you're either born with it or you're not. And there's nothing wrong with you if you don't necessarily have that. You just got to find another angle that works for you. There's plenty of people on YouTube who don't actually have charisma and they're successful. But I think most of the big people you see, like Casey Neistat or PewDiePie, or Philip DeFranco, Greg, I just said his name earlier, Tyrone Magnus. Like all of these people have charisma, and it's a natural born charisma. They didn't study how to be charismatic. It was just they just have it. If you don't have it but you still feel passionately about being in front of the camera and doing YouTube videos, fuck it, do it anyway. Just keep doing it. You'll get better at it. You will improve at it, and you will find your audience. I think that's the last thing I want to talk about is whether it's reaction videos or something else. everybody has an audience. There's an audience for everything. You just got to find that audience. There was a video I saw a while back talking about all the different kinds of videos that are out there. These genres of videos that are so weird that but anybody could make them. But they're like relaxing videos. It's like I saw one guy stroking his beard by a microphone for 20 minutes, and that's a form of content that people enjoy because it just relaxes them. Or people whispering into a microphone reading something. That's a form of content because it relaxes them. There's content for everybody. Everything can be content. You just got to find your audience. So I rambled for a while. Hopefully some of this was helpful. Hopefully some of this wasn't just complete nonsense and gibberish and aimless. You guys, thanks so much. Again, comment below and let me know if you've got any questions, and I'll try my best to answer them either in the comments or in a follow-up video. I'm Jabby Kuwait. Peace out.